On this video, I'm going to do a little short road trip today. The weather's not very good. I'm just going to try and do this in one day, and hopefully we might even catch some activity. And I'm basically just testing out. I started this video a little while ago, and then realized that my camera wasn't in 4K mode because I switched it over to 4K before leaving, but I guess I didn't save it, and it went back to HD, which is what I've been shooting my troubleshooting videos with this camera. So I put it into HD mode, or into 4K mode now, and basically what I'm going to do today, we might even catch some lightning activity, but I'm going to drive up the whole Princeton highway up to Princeton, and then I'm going to take the connector, which will take me back towards Merritt, and then I'll come back down Coquihalla. I'm just doing a big circle drive today. I'm getting prepped for my road trip for the summer, and I'm testing out different memory cards and stuff to make sure that they're actually going to work properly in this camera, because I haven't. This is a different brand. This is an off brand of memory card that I bought. It's a 64 gig memory card, but it's not. It's an ultra high speed 1 rating, and I normally use a UHS 3 in this camera. So I want to make sure that this memory card is going to be suitable, because I am planning on a couple of trips this summer in the next couple of weeks. One of the trips I'm planning on is a buddy of mine. I was talking to him last night, and he decided he wants to take his Corvette down to Arizona, and he asked me if I want to tag along. So I said, hey, great, perfect opportunity. And I'll have that opportunity just to shoot video. I won't be driving. I'll be the riding shotgun, working the camera. So I thought, perfect opportunity. I better get some more memory cards and test everything out before, as the last thing I want to do is get on the road and find out that the memory I've got isn't going to work, right? So we're going to test it out in this video, and I'll go on a, probably a 300-mile trip. I'm just going to do a big circle. It'll take me probably 4 or 5 hours to do it this afternoon. So we're just heading down the freeway towards Hope, and then I'm going to take the Highway 3 cutoff, and I'll go up through I'll go up through the Hope Princeton Highway up to Princeton, and then I'm going to hang a left at Princeton and take the Merritt Connector Highway, which I haven't driven with a camera yet, and we'll film that. And then I'll come back through the Coquihalla is probably the way I'll come back. Well, I'll have to come back that way from Merritt. Come down the Coquihalla. I've gone up the Coquihalla on video before, but I haven't come down it. Another jackass was sitting on my ass and has to go around me because he can get in, squeeze one car length in front of me. You know, like, where do these people think they're going to go? It's called traffic. So now, rather than tailgate me, he's going to tailgate the guy that's in front of me. You know, it's like some of these people just don't have a clue. Like, he can't even see the car that's in front of him, but he's sitting on a little car's ass right in front of him. See, look at how close this guy is. Let me zoom in here. Look how close he's following this. This is how close he was following me. Now he's going to jump out, and he's going to go around this guy, too. Passing through Chilliwack, and I'm getting a little bit of rain, so we may get some interesting weather as I go into the mountains. We won't have a lot to see with all the clouds. I'm going to be driving into the clouds, but it could still be interesting. The weather, we might get some good weather events. Hopefully no hail or anything that's going to damage the car, but we may get some weather events. They are calling for lightning today, so if we're going to get lightning anywhere, we're going to get it in the mountains, right? So we may get some interesting events on this little drive. That's the hope anyway, is that we may see something up ahead, and with all the clouds that are forming around me now, looks like we may have some activity pretty soon here. Here we go. The rain has started. I've got Rain X on the window there, and you can see the water is just beating and running off really nicely. Stuff's pretty good. Okay, we're just gonna come up here. We got the number 3 exit coming up here in a bit. We're just passing Hope now. We're not gonna stop at Hope. I'm gonna get right onto the freeway here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the car into mountain mode here now, because we're gonna be going up some pretty steep hills here momentarily. So I'm gonna get the car prepped for this big climb that's gonna be coming up here in the next little while. So if you hear the sound of the engine will now be running at a higher rate of speed to generate more power, and that'll get me over the summit that's coming up here fairly shortly. So I've got my exit coming up here on the right. Oh, there's a nice old car there on the back of a trailer. Got my exit coming up here shortly. This will take me on to Highway 3, the Crow's Nest Highway. And that'll take me up through Princeton, which is about 140 kilometers or so up the road. And then from there, I'm going to cut back across over to Merritt on the 97 connector. I think it's the 97 connector, yeah, the 97. Anyway, I'm going to cut over on the connector back to Merritt, and actually no, it's not the 97C, because that one goes up further. But there is a road that goes between Merritt and Princeton, because I've driven it before. We're going to go that route back to Merritt and then come back down Coquihalla. And it'll be interesting, because when I'm coming down the Coquihalla, when I get to the summit, I'm going to take the car out of mountain mode, which will put the car back on battery, because there should be a little bit of reserve in it. And we'll see how much power we can recapture coming down that big hill that goes for about 50 kilometers down, all the way down. We should be able to recapture a fair bit of juice coming back down there. So here's the number 3 highway exit here that I'm just coming up on. Now this is the Old Princeton. Now coming down the Coquihalla, we should see the new signs that have been placed. They've now placed dynamic speed signs where they can actually change the speed limit from anywhere from 90 to 120 kilometers, or whatever speed they want to make it. But they've got some new digital speed signs up there that will allow them to change the speed. We'll see them on the return trip. Probably hear the engine winding away here as it's building up power in the battery. The engine's probably running at 5,000 RPM right now. It's building up reserve in the battery, because I do have a hill coming up here. That's what mountain mode is designed to do, is when you know you're going to be going up mountains, you put the car in mountain mode and it'll generate additional power in the battery, so that you don't have to worry about running out of juice, because the little engine on board is not that powerful. So if you don't have a reserve of power, you're going to find yourself limited to about 110, 105 kilometers an hour tops. Whereas with a reserve built up in the battery, there's no limit as to how fast you can go. You can accelerate like crazy, as I've demonstrated on prior videos. We're climbing up towards the Hope Slide area. So we got this one mountain to go over, and then another mountain range behind here. But it's going to be all uphill here for a while. modes, and now the power's come way on. I just put my foot into it here. We're going up this real steep hill here at 135. I don't want to push it much more than that though, because I don't want to push it much more than that because it's only 100 down here, so I don't want to get a ticket, so I'm going to slow her back down a bit. Here's the Homeside viewpoint. Not be a day for stopping in there to check it out. And as you can see, it's starting to rain. It's one of the reasons why I postponed my, I was going to go on a road trip this week, but the weather hasn't been cooperating, so I'm just doing this little one-day thing here to see how the camera is going to perform with this different brand of memory card in here. We're entering Manning Park. So for the next, I think it's roughly 40 kilometers or so, we're in Manning Provincial Park. And that's where we're heading, Princeton, 108 kilometers. And then we're going to hang a left and head from Princeton over to Merrit and then back. I was thinking I'd go the Mission Highway back, but depending on what time I get back to Hope, it may be getting too late to bother with that. And then if that's the case, I'll just take the freeway back and keep the video a little bit shorter, but still there should be some nice stuff to see between here and Merrit. I've covered other highways before. I've been up this way before, but usually when I go up I like to go this way. This is actually my favorite route. This is my favorite way to go up to the interior, is the old Hope Princeton Highway, because it's a little more twisty. So I like to drive this route. I've driven this route several times going the other way. Last year when I went up to Coquihalla and I went up through Kamloops. Usually I go this way because I think it's a little more scenic than the other direction. The two-lane blacktop, which is always nice. The twisties, as we call them, which is always a nice road. So, the resort's 40 kilometers from here, so it's about halfway through, so we got about another 80 kilometers, and we'll be out of the park. I thought it was about 60 kilometers, but I guess it's 80, because the resort is, I think, almost in the middle of the park, or pretty close to it. But, anyway, I have memories of when I was a kid. My grandmother lived up in the interior. So when I was a kid, I had memories of the family vacation up to see Grandma every year. We'd all pile into the old diesel Mercedes that my dad had and chug along here. I remember, and that thing, you really had to wind that thing up to get it going. It had a top speed of 80 miles per hour, which is roughly about 130, I guess, kilometers per hour. Not very quick. And I remember struggling to get up this big hill, and we're going down the other hill like a bat out of hell. And at the bottom of the hill here, somebody's lost something. A tire. Oh, there's a tire lying in the middle of the road. Someone stopped there to pick it up, or maybe they hit it. I have a feeling that they hit that tire coming the other way. It's a tread off a truck. Yeah, going down the backside of the hill. Wouldn't you know, there was a cop there. And I think it was a 50-mile-an-hour zone, and my dad was doing like 70 or 80 miles per hour. And the cop threw the book at him for speeding out here. Of course, today, if you were doing that, you'd lose your car. Because in BC, if you are going more than 25 miles per hour or 40 kilometers per hour over the posted speed, then you lose your car. They will tow it away, and they'll leave you at the side of the highway, and it's up to you to get a taxi to take you home. So it could be a very expensive ticket, plus all the fines and the towing charges, and you're paying per kilometer to tow it off the freeway, and the storage charges and stuff. Yeah, getting an excessive speeding ticket out here in the mountains can be very pricey. It can easily cost you $2,000 easily just to get your car back. So they take that seriously. So I never ever go that much over the speed limit that I could. I might go 10 or maybe 20 kilometers per hour over the speed limit maximum, but I'll never ever do 40 because that's where they pinch you really bad. And unfortunately, I have never gotten a ticket, so haven't had a speeding ticket since I was 19. That was the last one I got. That was a long time ago. Here we go. We're hitting some of the twisties here. Signs here actually light up in the dark. Speed's 100 up here. I'll go 110 maximum. I know that if there's a cop up ahead, he's not going to get me for doing 10 over. No way. We'll give you that leeway for sure. And what do you know? The sun's come out. The skies are clearing. Cool. I figured we were going to get into a downpour there a few minutes ago, but the sun's come out now. It's actually turning out to be quite a nice day. Another sharp one up ahead here. This one says slow to 50. So you know that this is going to be a real sharp turn. So I'm just going to pull the speed back here and throw the car into this one. When I'm driving through the mountains, I usually put my car into low range. It doesn't actually change the range other than it puts the regenerative braking on, so I can just take my foot off the accelerator and the car will slow down. I don't have to get on the brakes. in here. Very nice highway if you're riding a motorcycle, because it's back and forth all the way up. And for the most part, there's a lot of sections that are 2-lane, but there's also a good portion of it that is 4-lane. A couple guys on their bikes, GoPros mounted on their helmet. "77 kilometers to Princeton now, and that's where we'll be heading to the west and on our way back to Merritt to perform the big circle drive home." I guess this is actually a little circle, because the big circle around the province, I've done that. That takes several days, but this is a one-day trip. A couple more people riding bikes up the hill here. Something I wouldn't want to do unless I had a motor between my legs. Looks like there's some road work ahead. I saw a sign that informed me that there's bridge construction. And now we gotta slow down to 80. And now down to 60. And in these construction speed zones, they don't fool around. You get a double ticket if you're speeding in construction zones, and even though I doubt that they're going to be working at this time of the night, it's after 4 o'clock on a Friday, so I don't think there's going to be anybody working now. You still never know whether there's going to be a cop lurking up here to catch the very person who has that train of thought that they're not working, so they can speed through here. And that wouldn't be the first time that they've done that. Prepare to stop, so maybe they are still working. I see a flagman sign. I guess that's politically incorrect to call them flagmen now, right? There used to be a time when it was a man directing traffic, but today you never know. And they got their slow sign up, so I'm going to go by here real slow here. Like he's waving a sign, I'm doing 30, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Well, the sign back there says 60. I go by him at 30, and the guy's holding his hand out like, "What do you mean? You're going too fast." I'm doing 30 kilometers per hour. I think that that's pretty darn slow. Here's the resort. This is a ski resort in the winter. Used to, when I was a kid, when we would come up here, used to stop in there, and that would be where we stopped for lunch, because that was like, I guess, about the halfway point. So when we left in the morning, we would stop in here and have lunch, and then continue on our way. Didn't stop again until we got up to Kelowna. We've got one last summit to go over. Sunday summit. We should be getting into the incline for that pretty quick here. And then it'll be one big summit to go over, and then downhill into Princeton. And then we'll ride through the valley over to Merritt. I think, if I remember correctly, there's not a lot of hills there, but then when we get into Merritt, then there's the big summit that we have to go over the Coquihalla summit. Okay, we're just exiting the park now. Everybody's stopping to take pictures. Everybody does that. Tell tourists, I did that years ago. I don't need to stop and take a picture of that because I've done it. Been there, done that. Here's the gas station that everybody stops at when they realize that they're running low. Not me. I got lots of gas. Even though this thing has a really small gas tank, as far as gas tanks go, it's only like 35 liters. Haven't even used half of the tank yet to get to this point. Probably gas up in Merrit is where I'll gas up because I should have enough. According to my onboard computer here, I've got enough for another 250 kilometers. So we're on our way up now. We're getting into the twisties again. Heading up to Sunday's summit. And then we'll go down the backside of that, and that'll take us into Princeton. 48 kilometers from here to Princeton. So, about 30 miles. Lost my son. Not my kid, I lost him years ago, but he's in another world right now. He'll probably come out of it when he's about 25. But the sun has gone away. It looks like it's going to rain again. What's going on here? This is no good. I was having some nice driving weather back there, but geez, now we're getting into this, yuck. Gray, ugly. But we got some nice scenery here. This is a nice road to drive. Again, driving a motorcycle, please be careful because there has been more than a few people that have gone over that. I think there was one right here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's a cross there. Somebody crashed a bike there last year. So if you're riding a motorcycle up this road, it's a nice road to ride on, but guys, please be careful because this road is not very forgiving. There's a lot of people that have met a very untimely end, chasing their thrills and pushing their machines to the limit. I can't stress that enough. I've been up this road on a motorcycle several times. It's a blast to ride. I ride a Harley, so I'm not pushing anything, but I've seen guys on the sport bikes just go ripping down here like there's no tomorrow, and these curves come up real quick. As you can see, the rain is, now I'm having to put the wipers on. The rain is really starting to come down, so we'll be slowing it down here now. First of all, the guy in front of me is going only 60. But looks like someone's had a breakdown. But the road conditions now are starting to deteriorate a bit. So these are the times where on these roads you gotta slow down. There's no reason to push it and put yourself at risk. One of the reasons why I postponed my road trip that I was supposed to go on this past week was because this is what the weather's been like all week. It's been crappy. I figured last year when I went on my Montana trip, the first of 8 days, the first 4 days that I drove was like this the entire way. It was just not a very nice day for shooting any video, and I missed a lot of really nice scenery that I could have gotten going through Alberta there, heading down to Pitcher Creek. I didn't get to shoot a lot because it was just gray. So hopefully when I do go on my real road trip, which I should be doing in the next couple of weeks, weather dependent, then I'll be able to get some better pictures than what I'm getting right now. Because this is, here's some guy here who doesn't believe that when you're going slow, or you should be going slow in the bad weather. Watches find them off the road, going through one of the sharp turns up ahead. Okay, we just went over Sunday Summit after a long climb there. Now it should be all downhill from here all the way down into Princeton. And of course they're doing road construction again. Of course, what the road construction they're doing is they're going to take this corner off. This is a bad corner where there's lots of accidents, and you can see they got a new road. We'll see it probably coming up here on the right, just around this corner. They're going to shave that whole corner off. They've already got the road bed. I can see it over to the right. It's off camera right now, but we should be seeing it come up here shortly. But that's what's going to happen. The next time I come up here, that corner is probably not going to be there. It's going to be shaved off, and it's going to come right back in, probably just around this corner, right about here. You can see. You can see off to the right there. If you look off to the right, you can see where they're working. They're going to replace this whole section of road with a nice 4-lane wide road. It's going to go down there off to the right. Because this particular area of this road has been one that's been notorious for accidents. So they're going to take that out. There's a hairpin up here too, that a real sharp one that I'm sure that they won't be cutting off. That's what the road construction project is this time. They're going to straighten out the road. And looks like there's a flagman ahead. Or it could be. Wonder if this guy will get mad at me for going by him at 30 kilometers per hour. It looks like the road is going to meet up with it right here. Oh, we have a detour now. Now what are they doing? Looks like they're going to take that off. The road's going to cross over here. They're going to take this corner off as well. And this is interesting. Let's just see where they're going to send us. And this corner is going to come off, I'm sure, too. The road's going to bypass this whole sharp corner. And now we get to take. See, that hairpin's already been taken off. They've put us on. This is probably what's going to be part of the new road here when they finish this. That sharp bend down there is gone. So that's interesting. So this is now we're on the new portion. There's some stuff going on below me down there too, so I don't know what's going on to the right. But this just could be temporary, or this could be where the road's going to actually end up being. I have a feeling this is probably where it's going to end up being, is right where we just went. Take that corner out, because that's a real sharp corner that people crash all the time. The last couple times I've been up here, people have crashed on there. Yeah, and this section here, this is new. This is new from the last time I was up here. They've widened this to 4 lanes. The last time I came down here was, I think it was last year. Or was it the year before? Maybe the year before. No, it was the year before. I didn't go this route last year. So 2 summers ago, that was 2-lane. So they've straightened that. They need to straighten this portion too, because there's some sharp turns coming up here as well on the downhill portion. In fact, there's a real sharp one down here. Got a fresh battery on the camera now, so I don't have to worry about running out of power anytime soon. So this is the one I figured they would take this one on. This is the sharp turn here too. I don't know if it's as bad as the other one, but it's still a pretty good one. time I rode up here on my Harley. And I think the video was posted on this, but I got up to about somewhere up here, and there was a bad accident, and the highway was closed, and it was like 30 degrees out, and we were stopped, and I was getting eaten alive by black flies and mosquitoes and stuff because I didn't carry any bug spray. I wasn't planning on camping out. I was riding my bike. And anyway, there was a crash up ahead and they had the road closed, and they didn't know how long the road was going to be closed for. And I'm looking at my gas gauge thinking, geez, you know, it's going to be tough to get back because Harley doesn't carry a lot of gas. You can go about just under 300 kilometers on a tank, so 200 miles. And I know I have enough. I gassed up in Hope, and I knew I have enough to get from Hope to Princeton, because there's a saying when you ride a Harley, is a Harley will pass everything except for a gas station. And it's so true, because they got a big engine. It's a 1600 cc twin, but they don't get particularly good gas mileage. You know, the Harley will get maybe 25 miles to the gallon if you are lucky. So I'm planning on getting gas in Princeton, and I'm not making it to Princeton because the road's closed. And I sat around for a good hour, and people are turning around, and everybody that's going the other way is saying, hey man, turn back. They're not going to open the freeway till like 10 o'clock. And I'm trying to do the drive that I'm doing right now. That's what I was planning on doing. And after waiting about an hour and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes and black flies and everything else is out here in the woods, I figured, okay, well, I guess I better turn back. And I was biting my nails that I was going to have enough gas. My low fuel light came on right when I was passing the Hope slide, and I knew there was still like another 30 or so kilometers until I got to a gas station, and I rolled in to Hope, and I'm sure that the tank was bone dry. I mean, I've never seen it that low. The gas gauge was below the E, and I was certain that I was going to run out. At least if I'd run out, it was downhill, so I could have coasted. But in fact, I think I did. I think as I was going down the hill, I just shut off the engine and I shut the fuel off. Not the engine turning over, but shut off the power, which cuts off the fuel injectors, because I was so concerned that I wasn't going to have enough. So when I was going down the hill, I just shut off the ignition and the fuel and let the thing go, and just used the compression to slow me down as I was going down that hill, because it was a big hill, right? So now see here, we're gonna get a big hill all the way down here into Princeton, so it'll be interesting to see how much power I can actually recover in the battery, because we're in battery mode now. So up ahead is a big, I think it's a copper mine up here that's ahead of us. You see it on the side of the hill there, but there's mining operations again here. And there's runaway lane, that's for trucks that have lost their brakes. You just kind of drive your truck into the side of a mountain, I guess. I tell you, that's a scary thought for a truck driver, coming down one of these big hills and losing your brakes. I would imagine it's not a very pleasant thought of having to hit one of those runaway lanes and praying that you can stop before you hit the end of it. Here's what I mean. Here's a real sharp turn here. Big warning for trucks. Take it at 30 or you're going over. to get onto Highway 5A, which will take me to Merritt. That's the number of the highway. So I just pulled in at the gas station there. I figured I might as well fill up. Took $20 worth of gas. Then I shouldn't have to fill up again. And I should be able to go the rest of the way home. And I needed to stretch my legs anyway, sitting in the car for a while. So, coming down that hill, I found that I generated 18 kilometers of power coming down that big hill. So it's kind of neat. The sun is out, but it's raining. So as we continue through the town of Merritt, over the old bridge here, our town of Princeton, sorry, we're heading to Merritt. Single lane bridge. We're going to hang a right. And now we're on our way to Merritt, where we'll get on the Coquihalla. Now I've been this way before. I've never filmed extensively down here, so maybe we'll get some good pictures, because the last time we came down here was on my motorcycle a few years ago, but I didn't have a camera with me, so didn't do any filming. But there's some nice scenery that we'll see along here. Hopefully the rain will hold off, so I won't have to keep doing that. But it should be a nice little trip from here to Merritt. So now we're on to Highway 5A. Checking the memory on the camera, there's about an hour and 15 minutes of recording time available, so I shouldn't have to worry about running out of memory space. These 64 gig cards will store about 2 hours of 4K video. So it's 90 kilometers to Merritt, and then we're gonna start making our way back home. So we should be there in about an hour. As you can see, this road's got a fair bit of twists and turns in it as well. Another nice road for taking the scenic route on a bike. Nothing like the twisties to give you a bit of excitement. As you can see, it's starting to rain a little more, and we're getting into the clouds, so the weather is not holding, that's for sure. Hopefully it'll clear up again so we can see some more scenery. There's a few people with cabins on the other side of the lake. I'm guessing the only way to access them is to park your car over here, get in your boat, and row across the lake. Or motor across. See lots of boats moored over there. I don't see any roads on that side of the lake though, so I would imagine that people over there, well, they got power, so maybe there's a road in there somewhere. Power cutting across there. I don't see a road though, so maybe they do have to get there by boat. So coming up the road here a bit, just going past an avalanche area here. Whoa, some rocks on the road there. I'd say some rocks have been coming down here lately. Allison Lake should be just ahead of me. We'll see it as we come around the corner here. Now when I get to about 10 kilometers from Merritt, I'm going to put the car, I'm not in mountain mode now, I'm in normal mode because these aren't very big hills, but I know I've got a huge one that I got to get up over when I get to Merritt. So when I get about 10 kilometers out from Merritt, I'll switch the car over to mountain mode. That'll give the engine a chance to rev up, put some extra power in the battery pack, and that'll get me over the summit without having to worry about running low on power. And it looks like the skies might be clearing again. This weather has certainly been all over the map today, hasn't it? As you can see, it stopped raining again. Now those clouds out ahead of me still look pretty menacing, but the sun's come back. I'm surprised I haven't seen more bikes. I've seen 2 motorcycles so far, and that's it. I'm surprised that I haven't seen more guys on bikes, probably because of the weather. But normally this road's got a lot of bikes on. So this is where the Highway 97C connector connects in. That heads up to Kelowna. To the right, to the left is Merritt. We're going to go over a cattle grate. So this becomes Highway 5A North and 97C West and 97C East the other way. So we'll get onto the freeway here. We have an accelerating lane to get up to speed. So this forms part of the, this is now considered the Coquihalla. This is the Coquihalla connector here. So the speed on this is 110. So let's get going. And this one will take us right into Merritt. And then we just get onto Highway 5. So 25 clicks from Merritt, from right here. We're coming up on Hamilton Hill. There's a brake check area here for trucks, so I guess it's going to be a pretty good downhill grade here for a bit down into Merritt. There's Merritt there in the background there at the bottom of the hill valley. We'll just film as we're going down the hill here, and you'll see it as we come around the corner. junction in 2 kilometers where we have to make the exit, as I don't need to stop in Merritt for any reason. That's a long runaway lane there. Yet it's still going down hills. In fact, that's supposed to stop it. I guess there's some deep gravel on that. But now we have to get on the exit to go the other way, and I got a traffic light here. Turn south here and back onto Highway 5. And this will take me all the way home pretty much. Literally, it'll take me right onto Highway 1, and then Highway 1 will take me right to Highway 17, and Highway 17 will take me within a couple miles of my home. Now we're going to be climbing this hill for about, I think it's about 40 kilometers uphill the whole way. Get to the summit. I'm not pushing it. It's 120 down here. I'm gonna drive at about 130, 135. I'm not gonna push it too hard going up here. For those that already don't know, this highway is what people call the Autobahn of Canada. So it was relatively new. It was only built about 30 odd years ago, and there's nothing real dangerous about this road other than in the winter it becomes brutal. We're just rocketing up the hill here. I mean, this is a long hill. I've been going up this hill for a while. Haven't been able to run out of juice yet. We're averaging 145. I'm just keeping up with the flow of everybody else, right? Tuck back in here in case that guy behind me decides he wants to actually go faster. Looks like the police are out here doing radar. Good thing I was only doing 123 when I went past them in a 120 zone. My sixth sense of radar detection kicked in. But geez, you know, downhill stretch, they quite often hide in the center of the road down here. And I slowed down, and sure enough, just around the bend, there they were, sitting in the middle of the road. But we all went by at about the speed limit, so we just kind of waved as we went by. If only they knew what we were doing. a little further up the freeway. It's called Julian Creek. Sign says 120. Doing 152. Okay, I just saw the sign that said variable speed corridor begins, so there should be some signs up here. There's the sign. It says 120. I believe we're just coming up on what used to be the old toll plaza. So from here, this should be the summit, right around here. And yeah, this is the old toll plaza where there used to be toll booths here. There's got a camera up there too. Now they just have the washrooms. But this is the old toll plaza. This used to be a toll highway. Every time you went down there, you had to pay like $20 each way. When the highway was first built back in the 80s, and once the tolls paid for the freeway, they took the toll booths away. While my engine is off, I'm in power regeneration mode. And it should stay in power regeneration mode pretty much all the rest of the way down the hill. I'm flying down the hill 144, not touching the brakes, just letting the electric motor generate some power and stuff it in the battery. It'll be interesting to see how much power we've picked up by the time I get down to Hope, because I should be able to go all the rest of the way down here without having to use up any battery. It'll be all regeneration. Train just past Hope on the 401. The sun is just starting to get ready to go down.